Okay, we're going to continue on. This is Lesson 2. We're going to continue on with where we left off at Lesson 1. Lesson 1, we created this class and talked a little bit about objects and classes and how they're different. And now we're actually going to talk a little bit about inheritance. So say we have this class animal, and this is kind of a very generic class. But say that we want to kind of extend that class. So we want to create another class. Let's just create it down here. Let's just say we want to create a class called cat. And the cat, instead of having to basically start from scratch and copy all of this stuff out, what we can do, and this is one of the powerful features of C#, is the fact we can actually just inherit that class. So we just do it like follows. So this little piece right here says that we're inheriting this class right here, animal. So cat inherits animal. What does that mean? Well, let's just take a quick look. We have nothing in here right now. So if we come over here to our code right here, and let's go ahead and whack this stuff from the previous lesson. Let me comment this out here. Okay, I just had to find it. I'm not quite used to 2011 yet, so I had to figure out where the comment button was at. Okay. So let's just say let's create a cat. Name it. We're going to name it C, and we're going to go like follows. And what can you imagine are some of the properties and methods available for cat? Well, if we look at this, it doesn't look like there's anything there. So it looks like this thing will be kind of pointless. But we've got to remember that this thing inherits from animal. So, just by inheriting from animal, it gains all the functionality of animal is now built into cat. So we should actually see, boom, we can see age, name, and talk. Those are the three things that we put into the class. So automatically we already have access to all of these particular parameters and methods from the base class, which is super handy because it allows us to create some sort of base and then kind of work our way and narrow in our classes, which is super handy. So it prevents a lot of code rewrite and just a lot of duplicate code. Because say for instance we're fine with this piece, but we actually want this piece to change. So what we do is in our base class up here, we basically we tell this method that it's a virtual method, meaning that this one can be overridden. If it doesn't have virtual, then it can't be overridden. Down here, we want to keep the properties that we had up there, so we're not going to touch those, but we're actually going to override this method, and it actually pops it in the list. It shows you the ones that can be overridden. They just pop up automatic, which is nice on the code completion. So basically, if we don't do anything, then it's going to look exactly the same. It just pulled in everything from the other one. Words. This base keyword is a new keyword that we can talk about a little bit. Basically, base we'll call the original class if you just leave this in here. That's how you access the base class functionality of that new object, is by using that base keyword. Kind of like where we called this to refer to the current object that was created. You can obviously use this inside of cat as well. I mean, that's the objects that gets created from this is the this keyword. Base just refers to the base class. Okay, so that is standard functionality. We want to get rid of that, and we actually want to do something else. We just want to say, I'm a cat. My name is. And just like we were saying, we can do this dot name, right? So even though there's no name right here, it's inheriting that from up here. So we can do this and it will be totally fine. In fact, over here, what it's going to do, if we do talk, this talk will refer to, in fact, we actually are passing, oh yeah, it wants us to pass something in. Let's actually get rid of this because we don't need this. This is referring to the talk on the cat. So that's how that works. So it's super handy. Basically, if you want to keep what's existing in the base class, you don't have to put it in your code. If you want to override it, then you explicitly put it in your class. So let's go ahead and run this and prove that it works. And I'm going to pause the video just to make sure that I pull the console box into the right place. Okay, I think I'm set back up where I need to be. So this talk, actually one thing I want to mention, it told me that I had to get rid of the override because basically when we removed that string from here, notice that the signature changed. No longer is this the same signature because we're no longer passing anything in. So we don't technically have to override this talk because this is a different talk than this one right here. So technically in this situation we don't have to do any overriding or anything like that because this is a different talk. Different signatures, they act as if you were overloading them. So this is basically considered an overload is the term of that other method. Now overloading also happens inside the same class. You can have multiple methods with the exact same name, but if their signature is different, then it's called overloading the method. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and run this and see what happens here. And I'm going to move this window down so you can see the output. Output's right here. Let's push this talk button. And there's the output right here. We end up getting some of this other stuff as well, but basically there's the output. And we can tell that it's running this one because that's what we have down in this talk method versus this other talk method. So that's, in a nutshell, how you can that's, in a nutshell, inheritance. There are a few more things that I would like to mention. Let me take a look at my notes here. Okay, I found a couple pieces that I want to show you. So notice how we have these as public. So they're basically accessible wherever. There's a couple other keywords that we're going to use to explain a few things. One of those things is called protected. Protected basically makes this particular attribute, name, it makes it only be able to be changed inside of the class that created it. So obviously this class has access to it. But also, cat has access to it. So if we want to change the name, we can. John the cat. But this class over here, this is a class called form1, where we're actually creating the cat. This no longer has that. See, name is missing from this list. So name does not have access to that. So protected, think of protected as kind of a way to guarantee that only base classes, only the classes that inherit from it can change it, or the original one, but no other classes that that create the object can make changes. Changes can only be made inside of the class, inside of that object itself, not externally. There's another thing called sealed. Sealed is a little bit tighter, actually, even more so than protected. Sealed makes it where age cannot be overridden. So as we see over here, we're trying to override age. We're trying to basically access it, and we're doing it from a class that's not animal. We're doing it from one of the lower classes that inherited from animal, and it's no longer giving us access to that. In fact, we'll notice that both age and name are gone from here because both of them have some sort of modifier on them. So let's go over that one more time. Protected basically allows it to be modified inside of the class that obviously created it. But it also allows it to be modified inside of classes that inherit from that base class, like we're doing here. But let's take a look and see. You'll notice that age is missing. Age is no longer in here. And in fact, I'll pull this down a little bit so you can actually see it. See, there's no age inside of this list because age is sealed, and sealed means it's only you can only get to it inside of that class. So sometimes people like to seal certain things so that they can't be inherited. Basically, it makes that portion of it not inherited. It kind of blocks that piece off from being inherited. So let's go ahead and set these back. Alrighty, and that's pretty much what I've got to say about inheritance.